So people think I'm mad when I say this sort of thing, but I mean, we could literally be farming in space. And that's, I think, another thing I want to look into with Astrojet Systems, the possibilities of space agriculture. And I have designs kicking around in my mind for machines that could be used in the processes of space agriculture. Um, I call them photofluorinators. I'm not gonna quite divulge what they entail. I'm gonna keep all that a secret, and then I'm gonna try and get them patented and try and get maybe photofluorinators installed in space, because we could literally have huge plantations up there in space, hydroponic arrays and so on, as long as we could get the water from somewhere, which I think we could from the icy moons of Jupiter and so on, and from the various comets and other sources of ice around the solar system. Yeah, we could get some water together, definitely, I think. And atmosphere, we could create that. We could get the nitrogen, yes. We could get oxygen, sure, yes, I think. Very much so. Or we could even create an optimized atmosphere and enrich it with oxygen, maybe. And create genetically modified crops in space. Who knows? But then again, where do we stand on the bioethics of all that sort of thing? Right, that's a different question, isn't it? Yeah, agriculture in space, very interesting, I think. First accomplished with a crop of radishes in 2018, grown on the International Space Station. And yeah, we should commemorate that sort of thing, I think. There's a great leap forward in our thinking. And we yeah, a great deal of agriculture on Earth occurs in what used to be rainforest. We could be using space, the huge amounts of space in space, right? Um, as a means of depleting our reliance upon those areas and rewilding, for instance, the Amazon and the rainforests of Indonesia, and trying to reintroduce species there and so on, and allowing the rainforest, allowing the jungle to return. We could very easily be doing that, I think. Or, well, not easily, but I mean, I think it's the sort of thing we'll need to consider in the days of space elevators and having the capabilities to raise and lower large weights objects to and from space. It's a very interesting thing to think about, I think, a space elevator. And, we could be transporting a lot of cargo to and from space, for instance, in terms of mined resources and things like that, and in terms also very possibly of agricultural output, produce, and rewilding the earth, letting it largely return to nature, and seeing what happens. I mean, ecosystems would flourish, wouldn't they? You get all sorts of things occurring. I think it'd be very interesting to rewild Earth, and you'd see the reintroduction of species that were there before, of course, and maybe something a bit more halcyon than um, than the kind of the somewhat unfortunate agricultural systems we have currently. Or, I mean, in the West, we could largely keep Earth agriculture, I suppose. But, it would just reduce in scale. We could keep the countryside as it is, if you know what I mean. We could keep country life in the way it has been traditionally and so on, to keep everything good and proper and keep the village green and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. But, it, not lose its culture and just keep doing what you're doing before, largely, but less so, or make it less intensive and more extensive or semi-intensive in terms of agriculture on Earth. And I think, for instance, in dairy, cows that are grazed for most of the year round, I don't think that's such a big ethical concern. Not really. But cows that are kept indoors all year round, that's bad. It's not good. It's terrible. And that's really what vegans have a problem with. That's really what needs to be adjusted in dairy. And we consume a hell of a lot of milk in the UK. Milk is very cheap. And yeah, I think we could stand to consume less of it, frankly. Not have huge coffees made of milk, basically. Lattes, so on. And yet we could save the rainforests, absolutely. De-intensifies agriculture in the West. Make it kinder for the planet. And it'll mean that the output will ultimately be lower. If we can farm in space, then we can farm anywhere. Like, imagine all the things we can grow in space as well, with the, the control we'd have over temperature, the very precise control over, distance from the sun and so on, having orbit around, the Earth, well, the sun, at some point away from the Earth, and then, well, not quite in orbit around the Earth, but at a stable stationary point is where you need to keep things. And then you could obviously freeze things as well when they're grown, I suppose, by moving it into the Earth's shade. So space could act as a freezer. And you could store up produce. You could store up like lots of fruit, for instance. Just freeze it. Am I mental? Am I a madman for thinking like this? I just love the idea of a fusion reactor in space. It's the sort of thing that should be in science fiction, I think. If not in reality. If that can't be done, I think that can be done. And I think I know the idea for a warp drive as well. I think I'd design that. So there. I mean, if I've come up with the correct theory of quantum gravity, or any theory of quantum gravity at all, let's face it, then I probably am also intellectually equipped to develop something like a warp drive. So there's that to consider as well, I think. But yes, space agriculture, a fascinating possibility for the future, I think. But we'll need space elevators, really need to be able to reap the benefits of it. Carrying, for instance, grain to and from, well, not to space, but from space. If we're growing like huge crop fields up there and so on, producing grain, right? We're in like a 3D environment, which is fully benefiting from the sunlight up there, and all that sort of stuff. I think, yeah, that is a way in which space could dramatically alter the way we do farming, dramatically benefit the planet. We could obviously automate a lot of processes up there in agriculture, which is what I would plan to do, make it all robotic. But still have like humans operating, different parts of it and so on if they want. Human operators, ultimately, for most parts, the systems. But yeah, there's so much more we could be doing in space. There's a great deal we could do up there. And there's a great deal of potential there that we can exploit. Great deal of profitability and benefit for humankind and for planet Earth that we can derive from becoming bolder and more ambitious with our endeavours in space. So yes, thank you for watching.